different. That was
Yeah,
that was
that was
that was
different, of
different.
course.
No, I said no. I did say that was against the rules. What do you make of today, V? Because last week you guys were waxing lyrical and rightfully so.
Right.
But
I
this,
gotta go.
cheers, Kel. Thank you. But this week, I mean, what did Pep get so horribly wrong today for you to be comprehensively beaten at home? Your defensive line leaking like a broken fridge.
Well, you know what? I'm often referred to, and hopefully my microphone's good. I'm in a noisy spot, but I'm often referred to as overly positive. And I got to look at this game and look at, we conceded 2 less goals than last season. I see improvement. We got slapped 4-0 last year. Now we got a 2-0 at home. I mean, there's improvement there. We're not as bad as last year when Deji wants to talk his city back or whack. I mean, we're not as whack as last year, but terrible loss.
Some great spin.
No player showed up today. We were so sloppy with passes. We were so sloppy with even our chances. You look at what Reinders would have easily taken in the game versus Wolves. He looks to pass it, and we lose an opportunity. Holland put another one on net. Marmouche should have scored that one. Like, we were just incredibly sloppy. In the midfield, we got outworked. We absolutely got outworked by Spurs, and that's never a good formula. I'm going to give, like Kel said, I'm going to give credit to Spurs. They were ready for this game. What Pep got wrong exactly, I don't think he had them prepared for how aggressive Spurs were going to be, because how they pressed us. Richarlison, for example, was constantly giving problems to our back line. We weren't able to build up, and once we gave up that second goal, and when we want to talk about the opportunities that Spurs had, okay, it was a hair fraction of a first goal onside. Credit to them. They took their chance. They got it done. The second goal,
dude, you can't be that shameless. Come on, man.
Wait, what? Well,
Come
in the
on.
build-up, did they not go to VAR to review it?
Yeah, but no one mentions that when talking about
It got
goals.
disallowed at
It's
first,
a goal.
but it was very much onside. I don't think
It
we
was
can
a
say
good goal.
hairline.
I didn't say it wasn't a good goal, but when we're talking about opportunities that led to goals, that was a hair onside. Credit, and I gave you credit. Like, what? Why'd you come off mute to challenge that? I gave credit to that goal, and then the second one, we handed that to you. And when Terry was asking, did Pep make a mistake starting Trafford? Again, the question would have been, did Pep make a mistake not starting Trafford after the first game? I think he was right to see how confident, how good he can continue playing. He showed, like all young players and a young keeper showed, that he still needs some more time, because he had a poor game even after scoring that goal, because he was sloppy. He looked like he was being rushed. He did not look comfortable. And we got to take this. I'm hoping we got Rax on screen here. I'm hoping that Pep takes this game similarly to what Slot did with the Forest game, and keep reminding the players of what it takes to be successful and how to compete in this league, and use this game, the Spurs game, as an example moving forward. Let's not have this mistake continue on.
Yeah, look, I know how positive you're being. I'm going to go back to what the first thing you said, that it's an improvement on last year because it wasn't 4-0, it was only 2-0. I have to say, it's the most Alan Partridge thing I've ever heard in my life. But listen, fair play to it. You'll always defend Pep, and I do understand that. For me, though, and I wanted to throw this out for the panel, Spurs deserve their credit today, but £400 million spent, and that back line for long balls over the top looks like it is barely improved at all. And I know the end of the season form was good, but we also all know, and I'm going to use Arsenal as a reference point here. How many seasons did we watch Wenger's Arsenal look good in the last 10 games of the season? Everyone would get excited about how great they were going to be the next year. And then when the games matter more and teams are... Because you get to the last 10 games and a lot of teams know where they're going to finish. Games lose a little bit of intensity as well, as an example. How big a problem is that going to be for City? I've got to Rack first. You just right. Like, how big an issue is that going to be for City if they can't get that fixed?
Well, this is the thing. Like, I've been saying for a while, I'm not going to make any rush. I'm not going to rush to judgment about City for the first 10, after the first 10 games, before the first 10 games. I think look, who am I to question Pep, right? But at the same time, there were periods last season where City were really bad, worse than we've ever seen them under Pep, potentially. And I think their recruitment has been questionable. Like some of these players, someone last week was eulogizing about Kuzanov or something, and he's going to come on this season. Like he's been there for just over 6 months. Nico Gonzalez has been there for over 6 months. People last weekend were talking about Cherky being amazing and Reinders. I think they could become very good. They could become great. I'm not going to say they're not, but at the very least, it's not unreasonable to question that, because getting to an elite level is very, very difficult. Very few players reach that level. So these guys who are unproven in the Premier League, I think it's safe to say, fair to have question marks. And look, there's also been rumours about Pep and his own motivation. He has signed a 2-year contract. But there's even, like, in the last few weeks, been rumours about whether he's actually going to see out those 2 years or maybe he's just going to stay for an extra year. I don't know. I just think there's some question marks. And I'm not here to question Pep, but I think that we should not give them their flowers before they've earned them. Not Pep specifically, but some of these City players.
Oh,
Well,
my
I think
goodness.
I think no. I think
100%.
this. Hang on a minute. Let's, before we all go mad, I know what rack means. Rack means this season. Rack doesn't mean take away Rodri's achievements prior, but he's talking about saying that they're definitely going to do it this season. And today was an eye opener. Today was an eye opener that there definitely could be some issues this season for Man City. There's no doubt about that. What do you make of it, Dej? Because I know Spurs get the better of them all at all times, but if you remove Spurs from the equation today, do you think that City could be a team that got at a lot again this season? Do you think that's doable this year again?
Yeah, look, I think my bro's, what he was just saying is absolutely correct. I feel like too many times we cave over and we just give City credit or kudos for stuff they haven't earned. You know, the Club World Cup, they did get knocked out by Al Hilal. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, let's be real. They should be slapping that team up. They didn't. They lost and they were knocked out early. Then Wolves is a decimated team, in my opinion. If you lose the likes of Cunha, you lose the likes of Nouri, you're going to be weak. It's going to take time for you to get up to speed. And so rather than just accepting that Man City got a good result last week against Wolves, City fans started shaking their bum violently. Well, they got brought down to earth today because I don't think Spurs did anything special. We didn't do anything more than what we did last week or when we played PSG. We just kept it simple. And sometimes I think the issue with Pep at the moment at City is he being too creative? Is he bored? Because sometimes they're overcomplicating it. You know, why is I know Savinho didn't even come on the pitch because he's injured, but why are players playing on the wrong side of midfield? Why are players inverting? Like, keep it simple. Why are you playing such a high line? At one stage in the game, I was thinking, is this Pep or Ange? It was so bloody high. And you just dropped it back a bit. Maybe that result doesn't happen. So I almost think like Pep also needs to go back to the drawing board. And if he doesn't, then what we're actually going to be saying is give Pep his kudos and his respect, but maybe it might be time for fresh blood. I know people don't want to say that. And City fans are saying, mate, I'm blaspheming here. But it's true because potentially you could have a similar season to last season, and that's not good enough.
And just following on from that, like, just like Pep's throughout his whole career, not just at City, but everywhere, they want a ball-playing goalkeeper, right? They're being linked with Donnarumma, which is the complete antithesis of a ball-playing goalkeeper. He's terrible with his feet. So, and so I'm like, and they've got a new sporting director who's come in. And like, are they recruiting for Pep now? Or are they recruiting for maybe Pep's successor? Or what is going on? Like, there's just some puzzling things. And look, we only see what we see on the pitch and then we make judgments based on that. But I think it's fair to start asking some questions if this doesn't go right. Look at us.
Yeah, of course, Rax. It's worth asking questions if things don't go right. But here's the problem, and it's funny because I'm on a panel with other Spurs fans. You guys are really damn good. Like, this is the thing that's funny. You guys put up a very good game versus PSG, and that's supposed to be kind of forgotten. You guys just had a very good opener game. Sorry for the noise. You guys had a very good opener game as well. And again, for us to look poor against you isn't an indictment of playing against a terrible team. You guys are very good. Now, should we have been better at home? 100%. But the City and Terry, this is going to be hilarious because I wonder if you're going to be talking about price tags of investment for every club here. But what we spent last season and what we were able to show this year, Ait Nori left that pitch and we look completely different. Ait Nori was part of that investment. And Ake, credit to him, he tried to put in that shift, but he didn't play the role the way Pep intended, because I think Ait Nori would have kept the width, Mamouche would have been able to come centrally, and Spurs sniffed that out. They made that left side pretty much ineffective when Ait Nori left the pitch.
Okay, and I think that's a fair point. But what I will say is this: there's two things. One, there's my view on football, which I'll come to. We're going to be a little bit fan channel shameless. I swear Arsenal were told all of last season injuries aren't an excuse for not winning.
Yeah, that's
by all fan bases.
For an entire season, 100%.
But then if your whole
one game,
system,
there's context.
Hang on. But again, but we boil it down for your whole system to rely on just one player or it doesn't work. That for me would make me panic. I agree to a large extent. When you've got a squad as good as City's, as good as Liverpool's, as good as Arsenal's, as good as Chelsea's, I don't think a couple of injuries should allow your team to go win one in 13. I think that's too far. Everybody agrees with that. At the same time, listening to my view's always been that. So this season, if Saka gets injured again for 2 or 3 months, that isn't an excuse for Arsenal to just not win anything. Why? Great teams of the past, City with KDB out all season. Man United have won things when we've had players out for long periods of time. I remember it. I lived it. These things happen. So I don't like this. Injuries are not a complete excuse. They play a part. But for you to sit there, and that would worry me. Ait Nori went off and we couldn't play the way we wanted to. So after 400 odd million being spent, if Ait Nori rips a hamstring, you're fucked. That would worry the living daylights out of me, because you can't go from we might have won with him on the pitch to we've got no idea, no cohesion, James Trafford having a mare, Haaland doing nothing.
No,
Chelsea
now you're doing
to
too much.
I
was in response to
today.
when you were talking about the defense, because you talked about how much was spent, and we still look poor defensively.
Because you can have a bad defense. I have a defense that's a little leaky because of injuries, but you can still go up the other end and bang 3 or 4 goals in. That's the thing. We can't just. That's my view on it anyway. And I'm not making overarching points. What I will say is, if your defense continues to be that vulnerable, and you were in the first 15, 20 minutes against Wolves, and you were at the Club World Cup, and you were a lot last season. This is the 12 months now this has been going on. If your defensive line continues to be that vulnerable, I'm not saying you come in 8th, because that's ridiculous. But you are not winning the Premier League.
No, right now we don't look like we're winning the league. And right now I think we're 3rd or 4th best in terms of favorites to win it. I think the majority have us 3rd. That hasn't changed after this game. But again, the reason why is, yes, I got triggered when I heard you talk about what was spent. And I had to put you on the spot to see whether that was going to be a reference moving forward for when we see poor performances for other clubs that make investment in those spots.
Just to answer that, sorry, it will be. So for me, Arsenal have less excuse this year than last year because they've gone out and had an amazing transfer window. Man United have improved their athleticism, less excuses than last year. So my view is that the more you spend, the higher the expectation should be.
Absolutely. And the expectations for us is with regards to week 38. We had a poor game in week 2. I think the midfield, like Kel spoke about earlier before she left, I think Pep put in Pep didn't have Bernardo Silva, which is considered an unk. Pep had all of the new players, considered new players, and I think that they weren't ready for this. Reinders, second week. He had a great first week, poor second week. Cherky, who started on the game, who started the game. He had a cheeky game. But yeah, Cherky didn't look effective as well. Right? Now, if this is going to continue on, we're going to have issues, and you can talk about what's been invested. But I myself, I'm a lot calmer because I also know the quality of Spurs.
Okay,
so that's why.
That is a very fair response. I've got a few super chats to do, and I've got a question about Tottenham, and I'm not going to ask how far can Tottenham go this year. It's far too early. I'm not going to do that.